Hello there. Welcome back. And if you are new, welcome to AKamaiChats. My name is Kamai, and we create videos and share ideas to people who are getting ready to retire or have already retired, and what kind of, if you wanted to supplement your income, supplement your retirement, supplement your social security, or if you don't have any retirement, start a small business so you can make some money for yourself and you don't have to be shut in on a limited fixed income because all you have is social security and a measly little 401k. So that's what we're talking about here on this channel. And I share all kinds of ideas, business ideas, how to start a business, tools you need for your business, etc. So today this is going to be the first in a playlist that I'm going to create for specific industries and what kind of business you could transition into upon retirement, or getting ready to retire, etc. Okay, so today our video is about police officers. So if you are a police officer currently and you hate your job, you want to get out of it, or if you're retired, etc., what kind of things can you do with the skills that you already have? You don't want to have to go to college, university, take a course, and learn a new thing. You already possess some valuable skills that you could use in a new business. So I have a whole list of types of skills that a police officer has: communication, critical thinking, interpersonal communication, attention to detail, problem solving, teamwork, conflict resolution. These are skills that every seasoned police officer needs to possess in order to do the job. And I started with police officer because my dad, he recently passed, so he was a police officer for all of my life, and he retired after, I think, like 25 years or so, and he made it up the ranks, and he was a wonderful policeman. He never did, oh no, he did, he transitioned into a business, so I will talk about that. All right, so using these skills, what kind of businesses could you start? I made a short list because, the possibilities could be endless. And I made a short list of some ideas that could maybe spark your interest or lead to other ideas, other businesses that you might want to do. So the first one is a security guard business. A lot of my dad's friends, when they retired, they started a security guard business, whether it was, hiring guys to be on your in your employees in your company, and you provided security for there's a lot of high-end stores in Hawaii, so they all need security guards. I used to work at Kate Spade for a short time, and we had a security guard in the store every day, and they were guarding the door. So you could start a business like that. And, with the skills you have, you could easily train them. They all carried weapons, and, so you got to teach them how to, like, gun handling safety, how to operate their handgun, and, teach them about security things to look for, because those are things that you develop, skills and instincts that you develop along the way as a police officer, that you can, help your new employees learn. Like when my dad, we had a pawn shop. My brother owned the pawn shop. We kind of all worked in it, and I'll tell a story about that in a little bit later. But my dad worked in there with my brother and all of us. And because of his skills as a police officer, there were some things that he did that were like, if you weren't in the industry, like if you weren't a police officer, how would you recognize these things? But he could always smell a rat when they came in to pawn stuff. He knew, like, there are some things that were obvious, but he always knew when the guy didn't own the thing that he was trying to pawn. So you could open up a pawn shop, right, if you're a police officer. So utilizing these skills that you possess and develop over the course of your career, you could be, transition into a pretty lucrative business, because having security guards is it's a very it's an important thing for us to be able to have. Like when you have a big concert, you got to hire security guards. When you um like money, what do you call that? They collect money. I just thought of it, and now I can't think of. I mean, I just thought of this, but I can't think of the word for it. You know, they armed guards. They go to stores and pick up money, and then they drop it off. I don't know exactly what they do, but you could start a business like that. It's you know using the skills that you have. So anyway, I'm just rambling. Home security. So you could purchase a home security company and hire some guys to uh, go and install the equipment, but you could be the salesperson that goes out and makes an assessment in somebody's home to point out, like what are some common things that criminals look for when they want to break into a house. So that's, I'll buy or start a home security company. There's a lot of equipment, home security equipment, and people can go online and buy it, but it really does help when you have somebody come into your home and do an assessment to tell them all of the weak points, the vulnerabilities that they have in your house. Because when these contractors build these communities, they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about how many homes they can fit in this one piece of land. Really, that's their goal, right? Like to fit maximum number of homes in a neighborhood. They don't care about like, well, there's your front door is hidden from the street, so somebody could easily be prying into your front door and break in when you're either home or not home. Just like small stuff like that it doesn't occur to us, but it's common sense to police officers. Write a niche blog. Okay, so if your police officers have to do a lot of reports, so I never asked my dad, but I'm assuming that they become very proficient in writing. So blogs are a great source of income if you know how to monetize it. And I'll make a video on that for you guys later. But you can start a blog about home security. You can start a blog about like your career as a police officer. You be of service to other people, because when people find value in your content, they will come back. They will be interested in what you have to say. But because you already do a lot of writing in your career, maybe you can write stories. So like do a police blogger, what do you call it? Police blotter, whatever you want to call it. You can start a blog. I think that would be really fascinating, especially if you're a detective. Like tell your stories of everything that you've done, and then take all your stories and turn that into a book. That's a fun idea. You could do a blog on home security, like things to look for and how to improve your home. And then as a side thing for money to generate income, you can sell the items on your website that you are talking about. Like you can review the best home security systems. You can review the best security cameras, things like that. And, you can put, it's called affiliate links. And I'll do a video on affiliate links later on how to add those to your website so you can make money. Dog training. So if you were an officer that worked with dogs, you can do like a YouTube channel on dog training and how to dog training for security or behavior, because these dogs that they use for police work are very disciplined dogs. And although the police officer may not be the one to train it, I'm sure that they continue to work with the dogs and continue training with them. Okay, so I found a really silly one. Maybe you could do this. I don't know. I looked for some ideas, and one of them was online fitness coach. So if you have some pretty good some pretty good computer skills, you could do you could create a website and do fitness tips. You could add videos. You could do a YouTube channel on fitness, maybe fitness for senior citizens, or training to be a police officer, training to be a firefighter, because firefighters have to be fit as well in their job. So you could do something like that as a fitness coach. And so I want to talk about just a few ideas and some stories about my dad's friends, a lot of his friends, and one of my neighbor. In fact, he wasn't a police officer, but I'll come back to him later. So one of his friends that was a police officer, he was actually a detective. I think most of his really close friends were detectives because my dad was. He became a travel expert. In fact, he because he loved to gamble, he would come to Vegas all the time. And I don't know how he garnered this deal, but he became a host, a casino host in Hawaii. So what he did was he promoted one of the family of, I don't know what you call it, like the group of casinos, and he promoted that in Hawaii. And when he got people to come to Vegas, he got paid a commission. I think it's off center. Sorry. Yeah, he got a commission, and he got a lot of his friends to sign up, go gamble, and he was a host. So, you know, you could do something like that, or you could become a travel expert, right? If you love traveling, which is not related to police work, but that's what he did. And then he had another friend that loved golfing. When my dad retired, he golfed 7 days a week, like literally 7 days a week. And his friend was also a golf enthusiast. And I don't know, I wouldn't say he was pro. I mean, I don't know, because I only know, don't know him well, but so he opened up a golf pro shop, and all of his other police buddies used to come and shop at his place, and all of his golf friends that he met along the way all came and shopped at his store. So, he turned his hobby into a business. So, and I think probably a lot of police officers do golf. And then I'll tell the story about my dad. So my dad, before he retired, um, he had befriended this pawn shop owner. And I don't know how long he had known him, but the pawn shop owner did something that was illegal. I'm not going to say what it was. He did something illegal, and he was found guilty, and he was, he was awaiting his sentencing or whatever. And because my dad was his friend, he's like, okay, sell me your pawn shop before you go to jail. And then when you get out, you'll have money in the bank waiting for you when you get out. So that's how my dad got his pawn shop, because he hung out with him at his pawn shop, and he, helped him. I don't know exactly all the things that he did, but he used to hang out at this pawn shop all the time with his friend. So he learned the business while he was a police officer. And then when he retired, I think he retired right before, because I mean, you can't be a pawn shop owner and a policeman. Let's be honest. Yeah, so he bought the pawn shop from his friend because he had developed these skills, and while he was helping him out. And then he also had this like spidey sense about people, and he always knew when somebody wasn't the owner of the item that they were trying to pawn or sell, right, or make a loan on. Most people who steal stuff and they want to pawn it, they sell it. So in a pawn shop, you can either sell stuff, or you can make a loan on it and come back and get it later. So that's really how the pawn shop business works. So my dad bought this pawn shop, and he used his skills, like he was hyper aware of things, and he watched human behavior and how people acted when they came into the pawn shop. And he taught us some of these things so that we could, working in the pawn shop. My brother owned it, actually. That's right. My brother owned it. So my dad bought it for him before he retired. And then when my dad retired, he was working in there every day. And so, he taught us, like, you watch how people behave when they come in. A lot of people, especially like first time or novice people, like thieves, you can tell they're really nervous when they come in, and they present things that I'm sorry, you got to judge people by the way they look, right? And because it's human, it's a protective mechanism for humans. We judge others to judge whether, it's like an instinct. Is this person a threat, or is this person a friend or a foe? So you can tell by the way that they look and they act, and like the thing that they're pawning, does it match what they look like? And I know what that sounds like these days, but it is a true thing. So this young boy, like, he was 18. Okay. He came in with a diamond ring. It was like a huge diamond ring. And my dad asked him, okay, so whose ring is that? I know it's not yours because you're 18, because you got to provide an ID, right? I know it's not yours because you're 18. And the guy goes, oh, it's my grandma's. So he said, does your grandma know that you're pawning this ring? And he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, well, why didn't your grandma come down here? And he's like, oh, I don't know, she couldn't. And he said, I'm not going to give you a loan, or I'm not going to buy it from you until you bring your grandma in. And then so the guy left. The guy left and probably took it to another shop. But the whole point is to protect your business, not be a hero, right? And 9 times out of 10, if people were kind of sketchy, you just kind of like be nice to them until they leave. One time, these boys came in and pawned a stereo component system. Now, to all of you babies out there, you don't know what that is, but it is, or you might. I don't want to assume anything. Component system are stereo components, right? So you had a receiver, and then you had an amplifier, and then you had an equalizer. So they're all stacked. It was like huge stack of stereo equipment, and then you had to hook up your speakers to it. And so one of the skills that I had learned is like, I could hook up equipment. I could install a car stereo. I could I could run any tool, you name it. I know how to use it because we had to test everything out. So yeah, these kids brought in this stereo component system. Looking at them, they were super young. This is a really expensive system. And my dad was like, oh, how much you want for this? And so they said like a low number. Okay, so this, like, let's say this stereo equipment was worth like $4,000. They only wanted like 500. So that tells you, that's a clue that they don't own it, because they didn't. If you spent $4,000 on something, you're going to ask for 500? I think not. So what he did was, it was in these warehouse units, and it had the door, that you got to pull the chain and the door comes down. And then we also had a storefront. The storefront was made of glass, and then the gate came down to, protect the glass overnight when we closed the shop. And so my dad told my brother, hey, we'll pull down the gate. So he said, what? He said, pull down the gate. So my brother went in on the side, he pulled the gate down, and the boys was like, what is going on? And he said, I know you don't own this, so I'm calling my friends to come arrest you. So he called the cops, and they came, and they did some investigating. They asked the boys some questions, and they admitted it wasn't theirs, and they got arrested. So, using your instincts as a police officer, you can create some really awesome businesses for yourself when you retire. Like I mentioned in the beginning, if you open up a company where you rent out security guards, you can teach them all the things that what to look out for, and watching suspicious behavior. And because it is pretty obvious and common the way that these criminals act. Most criminals they commit crimes of opportunity. There are not, as many organized crime out there, and they don't steal Kate Spade bags from the front table of a store. People do that because they're like, hey, nobody's looking, and they take it, right? So human behavior is very predictable, and using all of your spidey senses as a police officer, you could start a flourishing business and have some really nice retirement income. So really, that's all I had to share today. I just wanted to start my series on, if you are this in your career, maybe here are some ideas that you can have to start a business for yourself. Okay, my name is Annie Kamai. My name is Annie Kamai, and this is AKamaiChats. Sorry, my name is in the corner there, and I was reading it, and it just kind of threw me off. So let me try and do that again. I hope I can edit this out. That's all I had to share for today. My name is Annie Kamai. I really appreciate you watching all the way to the end. Please give us a like, and if you would, if you haven't already, please subscribe because we'd love to see you again. Thanks, everybody. Bye.